Meanwhile, we want to tell you that 9/11 conspiracy theories definitely don't have science on their side. We're going to explore those when we come back. More Fox and Friends, right ahead.
On this 9/11 anniversary, there you can see the lights down at Ground Zero. We will take you live there exactly 2 hours from now for a moment of silence, which will be led from the White House by the President of the United States. Still many crazy conspiracy theories about 9/11. Our next guest is here to debunk all of those 9/11 myths once and for all.
Joining us in studio is Editor-in-Chief of Popular Mechanics, James Meigs. James, thanks for being here.
Great to be here.
Okay, the first one that you hear, and you hear fairly legitimate, some celebrities talking about this. Rosie is one that pops in mind. Fire can't melt steel, so the towers must not have fallen just because planes flew into them.
That's one of the first ones that really came out, and it's still one of the most prevalent conspiracy theories. You know, what we've done in 3 years of Popular Mechanics of looking into these theories is try to find the facts that the conspiracy theorists themselves cite as evidence of their claims. In this case, they say that because steel melts at about 2,700 degrees and jet fuel only burns at about 1,500 degrees, the fires couldn't have been hot enough to cause the buildings to fail. But when you talk to engineers, what you see is that steel doesn't have to melt to fail. You had all this weight of the top of the buildings over both impact sites bearing down, and these fires raging for hours, and you had all the damage of the jet impacts. Eventually, it was too much for the building to take.
Okay, so there you go, Rosie. Hope you're watching. Another myth is that Building 7, real quickly, was destroyed on purpose, and we saw the view from the north, and it looked fine.
That's right, and there wasn't really much of any good way to see the building from the south. But what we've discovered in studying the engineering reports is the south side of the building was severely damaged. You know,
all the stuff fell on it from the towers.
That's right. No planes flew into that building, but one of the largest buildings in the world fell on it, and also ignited fires that weakened the building from the inside.
And in just a few seconds, was Flight 93 shot down?
There's absolutely no evidence that Flight 93 was shot down, and it's something that I think people might want to believe, but in fact, we know more about Flight 93 than any other plane.
I tell you what, James, we've got a couple more quick questions for you. If you would sit through the break, more with the guy from Popular Mechanics blog. On this 9/11, the day that everything changed in America, we're talking a little bit about so many conspiracy theories, and James Meigs from Popular Mechanics just outlined a couple of them, and you've got scientific fact. Now, something else, people will say, well, obviously, the government faked the phone calls from the airplanes because cell phones don't work on airplanes.
All of these conspiracy theories ultimately come down to some factual claim, which on the face might sound plausible. So you look and say, well, maybe there is something wrong with the regular story. We looked into it. In this one, actually, most of the calls weren't made from cell phones. They were made from the seat-back airphones that we've all used. The ones that were made from cell phones, it turns out cell phones do work in airplanes. They don't work great. And if you look at the transcripts, there were a lot of dropped calls, but they do work. And that's how we know what happened on that plane.
And James, you know, we'd like to think that these theorists are crackpots, but the truth is that they have taken hold in some mainstream thinkers. What's going on in people's heads?
Well, there's two things. One is that everybody has a right to be skeptical. We should ask questions. We shouldn't believe everything we read. But the second is there's a lot of people with political agendas who've driven some of these things and provided a lot of these theories in the first place that then just curious people pick up on and repeat.
Interesting. All right. James Meigs from Popular Mechanics, the editor-in-chief, and this is the book, Debunking 9/11 Myths. It's a great read. Thanks for being here, James.
Brian, over to you.